Thank you. Welcome, everyone. They asked me if I wanted to speak before you all ate, and I said, no way. You'd get very hangry at me. So we didn't want to do that. Welcome to Danville, Virginia. We're proud of this city. Welcome on behalf of the mayor, Alonzo Jones, the city council, the 1,100 employees of the city of Danville, and Ken Larking, our city manager, and many others who make this city run. I was told by Linda Green, who's going to talk about the mega site, so I'm going to not mention the mega site, which I'm very proud of, that I had to tell some jokes. So you all are staying at the B. Okay, so you should know these facts. What B can never make up its mind? Maybe. Oh. Secondly, what B will always give you a second chance? Plan B.
Oh, that's good.
Be careful what you eat for lunch or for breakfast, really. Be careful you don't ever eat tinfoil. You might sheet metal for lunch. Don't choke. Anyway, I had to tell jokes. She told me I had to tell jokes. So welcome to Danville, the comeback city. Why do we call Danville the comeback city? It's known that all over Virginia is the comeback city. Even the ex-governor Northam used to call us that. Why is it called? Well, I thought you'd never ask. Let's go back a few years. And actually, I'm from Gate City. I'm not from Danville. Gate City, Virginia. Anybody from down in that area?
Watts County.
Where?
Watts County here.
Yeah. And so I grew up there. We had, on the weekends when the liquor stores were open, we had probably 2,000 people. During the week, probably half that. But, Tennessee was a dry state. We were right on the border, so people would come over. We had one traffic light for the whole county. We didn't need that except on Saturday. So I know about small towns and rural areas. And to me, Danville's a big city, but it's still a rural area. Gate City, when I grew up, like I said, about 1,800 people. It went up to, I looked last week, went up to 3,000 people in the year 2000. But now it's down to 1,895. So losing population in rural areas. Danville, when I came here, had 53,000 people. Latest census is 38,229. So rural areas are losing population all over, which I think is sad. When in 1989 I was looking for a place to set up practice in Virginia, I went to Northern Virginia. I'd lived in Richmond for 7 years at the medical college, so I knew about big cities. I said, I don't want to stay in a big city. I just can't take the traffic and all the rush and people getting on the freeway in Fredericksburg. At 6 o'clock morning, they were a bedroom community of D.C. that far away in that time frame, and driving in. So I looked for a small town. And actually, when I got here, I was trying to make up my mind. At the end of Main Street, where the church circle is, I got out of my car, because you can see more if you walk, and I walked down Millionaires Row. These are homes built by the textile and tobacco CEOs at Dakota, they call them those times. Beautiful homes. Walk downtown, the warehouses, the Diamond Tobacco, the research building for Dan River. Beautiful facilities. If you went to, it was called the world's largest tobacco market. In Gate City, we used to have, that was the big highlight of the year, go from Gate City to Weber City. They had the tobacco auctions in the fall. And they had a huge tobacco, apparently, I wasn't here, they have a tobacco auction here. But now things have changed. Tobacco is contracted, JTI, we still have tobacco here, JTI, Japanese tobacco, contracts with farmers to produce so much tobacco, and they have a fixed price they'll produce it for. But diamond, all these things moved away, and then the textile. When I was here, it was down. It was 16,000 at one time. Worked here in different mills you see dispersed around the city. 1,000 looms in one building. Can you imagine the clatter that made? 1,000 looms going. People that worked there said it was deafening. Dan River brand was known all over the world, and the comforters. I still have comforters and sheets. Well, the textile industry all over the South went downhill, and thanks to some of our congressmen and presidents, but I won't mention by name, that let it go overseas. And Dan River, a man came from overseas and bought Dan River for like $250 million. He paid that and closed it. He wanted the brand and he wanted the looms. Now that's fine. I guess that he had that much money. It was sad to me because look how many families and people got put out of jobs. It was about 11,000 to 12,000. That's a lot of people suddenly don't have a job. So it's sad. The mills closed. The downtown became run down. Crime. You didn't go downtown at night. I've got people still that haven't gone downtown since. They still think there's a lot of crime downtown. Well, if you go downtown now, you can hardly walk on a Friday and Saturday night. It's almost like Times Square, people elbow to elbow, going to the shops and so forth. And you all been down there. I think you're going to get a tour later. But always, it just went downtown, downhill. And people were out of jobs, and it was tough. The population dwindled, the school population went down. We haven't built a new school in 50 years, but we're working on it. It wasn't safe to be downtown after dark. And then one day in my office, a 55-year-old man literally broke down crying. He was in tears. Well, he's got his pressure under control. His cholesterol's good. He doesn't have a job. Who is going to hire a 55-year-old man who's worked in the mill for 35 years and train him in a new job? Nobody. Well, not too long after that, opening came on city council, and somebody needed to be appointed. It was between elections, so I somehow got the appointment. Later got elected in 2008. And we didn't do much for a couple of years. I was trying to figure out what the heck I was doing there. But in 2010, I almost missed the boat, or actually almost missed the bus, because the Danville Regional Foundation sponsored a trip for city council and interested leaders down to Greenville, South Carolina. Who's ever been to Greenville, South Carolina? Beautiful city. It's sort of our sister city now. The downtown, at one time, their downtown was like our downtown. Things were closed. There were no stores, no restaurants. It wasn't safe to go downtown. They'd actually slabbed over their river. That river was covered by concrete. You couldn't even see it. It went under the city. So they unroofed it, made a beautiful place to go downtown and walk along the riverbank. Although they call that thing a river, I'd call it a creek. Fancy creek. It's nothing compared to our river. But anyway, it's nice. And they had restaurants, hotels refurbished. They had 27 antique stores. Why do you need 27 antique stores? Well, every one of them had somebody in it. Because apparently people go to an antique store, they walk from antique store to antique store. But, we were energized. But they made 2 points. One, it doesn't happen overnight. It's going to take you 15 to 20 years. Number 2, you're going to make mistakes. Things are going to come and they're going to fail. Some businesses, some things you invest in, and they showed us some big projects that not made it. But I can tell you on the way back, we were all energized, trying to come up with ideas. Now, we still had our naysayers. About 5 years before that, and there were city council members that actually said, that's a waste of money. That person didn't go on the trip with us. Said, that's a waste of money. We tried to renovate the downtown. We spent several $1 million 5 years ago, and nothing happened. We weren't satisfied with that. So we said, well, maybe we can try it again. So we started getting private investment. We had to go get loans and grants and whatever we can do. And I think in the first few years, we invested $25 million, public and private partnership, and private investment chipped in with $150 million. So we have people coming from Charlotte, Raleigh, buying these buildings downtown, these old warehouses, and refurbishing them for apartments. I mean, nice, if you get to go in some of them, they're nice.
We did.
And a lot cheaper than you can get in New York. I had a man from New York, he'd been to Left Elm, went up there, and he said, this would cost me 5 times what it cost, in New York, and you wouldn't have free Wi-Fi and parking and all that. So they're beautiful apartments, 1,100 apartments now, and about 2,000 to 3,000 people live downtown. 17, 18 restaurants, eateries, shops. It's just different. You can walk downtown now and you feel perfectly safe. And the downtown's safe for the, police have made it safe too. Then we attracted the medical school, VCOM. Anybody from up in Blacksburg in that area? Well, VCOM came and they were looking for a place for the residents to take postgraduate training. After you finish medical school, you have to train somebody. So I talked to them and others did, Mike Moore particularly, and we got them to start putting their residents here. Well, think about it, 50 people, this is over 3 years, and they rotate, so they keep coming, at salaries of $55,000. Now, how many would you like to have, how many would you like to have an industry that had 50 employees at $55,000 average salary? Okay, they're still in training, but that's what they get. So we got them to come, and a lot of them live downtown. And the students who couldn't find a place to stay before can get apartments downtown. So we populated the downtown, or helped populate it. And then we have professional people and people who want to downsize. You know, they got a house, they want to downsize, so they move downtown. Okay, and where you can walk to your stores, the pharmacy, grocery store, you can walk to all these places. It started to come back. Then we started attracting, we felt we have to retrain people. Look across the street, RCAT, the Regional Advanced Technology thing. We precision machinery, we started investing money in these. We had people on council saying that's a waste of money. They're no longer on council, thank God. You've got to retrain your workforce. So that's a big key to how to come back. We got the noblest computers. Well, that's one of the, I don't know if they took you in or not, but one of the 5 largest computers, fastest computers in the country is downtown in one of those buildings. You don't never know it till you go in there. It's the computer you go to when your computer can't solve a problem. They can run it through there at mega speeds and solve your problem. And they've given it back. They supply laptops for our school kids, free. I think in the 5th grade or something like that. We've attracted many businesses downtown. Averett moved down there with their graduate school and nursing school. Regional Foundation, we've got you just wouldn't believe what's in all those buildings besides apartments. Then we had to, you've got to attract good people. Excuse me. Okay, I'm at page 3. I'm about through. So you got to retrain, but you got to have top-notch people. You got to have people that believe the same thing you do. So we sat down. We had the other momentous thing we had a retreat at Berry Hill. We spent a weekend there, sounding out ideas. So we came up with 3 priorities. Okay, education is number 1. That's the cornerstone. So we had to partner with our education people, DCC, Averett, to train people. We also had, then public safety and economic development. Those were our priorities. And that's what we're still working on. We had to get good people in here. Telly Tucker, who was our economic development person, was superb. He left for a while, but he's coming back. He's going to take over the Institute and just imminently. I knew he wouldn't stay long in Northern Virginia. Anyway, he did a magnificent job, and his protege, Corey Bobby, who's taken over for him, we haven't missed a beat since she's been in there. And they worked diligently. They worked day and night to attract new industries. We had Morgan Olson, 20,000 truck contract they have with Amazon. 20,000. If you came in from the east, 58, and looked in that field out there, there's row after row after row of white trucks ready to be labeled, either with Amazon, UPS, Federal Express. They make trucks for all those. They're just rolling trucks out of there, delivery trucks. They all look the same inside, but outside they put a different label on them. We already had Nestle's, we had Goodyear tires with 3,000 employees, we had American banknotes, or Canadian banknotes. What do they do? Well, if you have a Virginia driver's license, it was made in Danville. They do that holographic driver's license. So Virginia, Maryland, and Canadian driver's licenses are made here. Nestle's, we've had Aris Farms, the vertical farming is opening up soon. Tyson's Foods, they did a magnificent job. These people have. You've got to have a good police chief, and we went looking, and we got Sheriff Booth, and he's been outstanding. We told him when he came here we wanted community policing, we wanted to engage with the community, He said, I got it covered. And he said, my staff, after about a week, he said, my guys have no idea, guys and girls, what community policing is, but I'm going to teach them. And he has. They go out and engage in the community. It's important to engage because somebody commits a crime, guess what happens? Nobody sees it, even though they were sitting there watching. They won't tell the police if they don't trust the police. But his motto was, we work for you. We don't care if you're in 3rd Avenue, you're over in Cardinal Village, we work for you. So we're here to help you. And he's gained the trust of the city. He's giving talks all over the state and all over the country. We have Robert Davis of the gang. He's in charge of gang prevention and youth services. Same thing. He is become an expert all over the country. He gets requests for talks everywhere. You got to get good people. His thing is he wants to get to these 15 and 17-year-olds before they make a mistake that will cost them the rest of their life. And I remember it being at Boys and Girls Club a few years ago, and there was like a almost 30-year-old who'd been in prison for 12 years. All he did with his buddies was rob a pizza delivery man. They got $4, but because they used a gun, they were sentenced. He was sentenced to 12 years. His buddies ratted him out, and they got lesser sentences. But now he's 30 years old. And now, so you got to do something early on to prevent that from happening. And that's what Robert David does in his task force. Now, we're not stopping at the downtown. We've got setting up recreation areas through town. We're going to have splash ponds around different areas for kids in the summertime, park on the river, school field area where the new casino resort's going to be. We're trying to renovate that whole area. It's sort of, we start in the middle and we're working our way out. That casino resort, by the way, come back in about 2 years and come to our resort casino. I've been to Las Vegas 3 times and never put a nickel in a slot machine. But the food is great. The entertainment's wonderful. They're going to have like 250 shows a year. Comedy shows, concerts. So it's going to be great entertainment. The 5 restaurants, including a Gordon Ramsay celebrity chef restaurant, and a place you can hold conventions for up to 1,100 people in a room. So it's going to make magnificent. We worked 2 years on that before we got the right group. And that many hours we spent on that, but we think we got a winner here. So we're a work in progress. We're improving. We've got to do better with our, when Danville annexed Pennsylvania County in 1988, certain communities got forgotten. They were promised sidewalks, street lights, blah, blah, blah. And this is not just minority black communities. This is some out in the airport that mainly Caucasian communities got forgotten. Well, that was bad because they still haven't got what they promised. So we're working on that. I know that, so I think we're improving. About 8 years ago when I went to VML, Virginia Municipal League, if any of you have been to that, the mayor of Alexandria and I were riding on a bus in Richmond, and he asked me where I'm from. I said, Danville. And I said, oh, boy, y'all have taken it on the chin. It's really rough down there. Lost your textile, lost your tobacco. 2 years ago when I saw him, he said, wow, you all are doing great. When can I come visit? I want to figure out what you did. So things have changed. We've changed the mindset. So in closing, what do you need to do to make a comeback? Well, you got to get a lot of like-minded people in the same room, pool their ideas. You've got to retrain your workforce. You've got to set priorities, and we did: education, public safety, and economic development. And bring all this together to get you a brand, and we've got Reimagine Danville as our brand. Put all this together, and you're well on your way to a comeback. Thank you.